everybody, to the 13th day of Saito GG's Path to Pro 2024 Combine. It may not be the actual 13th day, but it's the 13th day of games. My name is Yanni. I'm joined here by the Bully, who has graciously allowed the games to be streamed on the Blue Otter channel, which you're tuning into now if you are here. We have 10 players ready to go at it for those last 5 spots to get to LA. But there's a big twist on the rules today. As you can already see, there's a lot of champions that have been selected here and team compositions that have already been put together. These team compositions are very carefully curated team compositions. The rules that the teams have to work with today is they each get 2 bans. You get 1 ban in phase 1 and you get 1 ban in phase 2. And you must pick from a specific pool of champions, but you may pick 1 champion that is not listed in that specific pool. We're already seeing one of those champions come out over on the blue side, as Seraphine is going to be the pick. It's not a champion that is listed as either mid or in the bottom lane. And on the other side, of course, we're going to see a Zoe come through because Team B has Samakin in the mid lane.
Yep. And this is actually a good time for Samkin to try to show off the Zoe pick, as they are constrained on what champions could be used and what bans can be done. So I am excited for this because, you know, you pretty much know what the other team is going to probably pick based on what they select in the first couple picks. So you can try to, you know, theory craft what you need to pick and to make your game easier. And this is not only for the players, but also for the coaches to decide what is the best comp they could build.
Couldn't agree more. And this Team A composition, otherwise known as Team Bio, at least when they went into Pro Draft, it was Team Bio and Team Will. This Team Bio looks very reminiscent of like a FlyQuest composition that you would have seen at Worlds, right? They're putting Cassante in the top lane, they're putting Sejuani in the jungle, Tristana mid lane, and then, of course, Seraphine Ashe bottom. Before we really dig into the team compositions, let's list off who is playing today. So Team Bio consists of Quacker in the top lane, Bio in the jungle, Otter in the mid lane, and Scary Jerry and Kim down heading to the bottom side. And Team B, aka Team Will be Dr. Calculus in the top lane, Will in the jungle, Samakin in the mid lane, and then Levitate and Dum Dum in the bottom lane. And I can see why they named this team after Will. He's already locked the spot for LA.
Yeah, I mean, he's also played in like the majority of all these sets, so he's got the opportunity. Not just like he knows that he's gonna go to LA, but he could also like test out Bio a little bit, and I think it's gonna be a good one.
I couldn't agree more, Bully. And for those who may not know, who may be tuning in for the first time or haven't really heard much of the rundown of what this Combine is about, first of all, welcome. We're happy that you're here watching the next generation of North American talent. And right now, basically, it's just a mission to elevate opportunities for players in the North American Amateur League of Legends ecosystem. It's an ecosystem that, you know, started out beautiful, untouched, and then over the years has crumbled in some ways, but has been incredibly resilient in others. And it's thanks to people like Parthenon who have put this Combine together, people like anybody who may be watching, anybody who has contributed positively to the ecosystem. That's the reason why these players are playing right now and why it's still alive here in North America. It is a 3-week online Combine. Players are invited based on their solo queue performance. There's a complex algorithm that I believe Saito uses that I don't remember off the top of my head, but if Alk Battery were here, he would know for sure. There's an in-person tryout. 10 players who participate in the Combine get invited out to LA for a week-long period for this 10-person tryout. 5 have already been selected, 1 in each role. Zamudo for top, Will for jungle, Darkwings for mid lane, and Mobility and Mixture for bottom lane. Not sure if they will actually be a team or not. And then some of the in-person tryout players will be invited to a 1-month boot camp in, I believe it should be in Seoul, South Korea. TBD on most of those, just, you know, big plans for these players. And hopefully one of them will be able to use this as a stepping stone to make it to higher levels of Tier 2 play and even get into the Tier 1 ecosystem and try to be the next big NA talent at Worlds, Bully.
Yeah, I mean, this is like probably the best opportunity for any of these players. Like, Going to Korea, just having a 1 month boot camp is difficult enough, especially if you're a college student. You're gonna need funds. You need to wait to like get there, stay for a longer period of time, because obviously you can't go to Korea for a month and be like, or not a month, like a week and be like, yeah, I'm good. They kind of want to grind out solo queue, not just solo queue, but kind of figure out, because NA solo queue has not been taken seriously for a good bit, and Korean solo queue is a different beast. So having the ability to go there completely paid for 1 month, some of these players can actually develop into absolute beasts, and I totally here for that.
So many of these players are so talented, right? You see a guy like Samikin as a big example, played under your organization, the Blue Otter organization in the NACL. Started competitive in late 2022, and in 2023 gained a lot of experience. But in 2024, he like showed up as like, I am the guy, and then in less than a year made it into the NACL. And is considered one of the best and brightest that NA has to offer, especially with his unique champion pool. Now, that hasn't come without its set of challenges, Bully. He said that he was really nervous heading into this combine because he is still, quote unquote, a rookie, but also has the NACL experience and is still learning a lot of things, right? And hasn't been happy with his level in the combine, his level of play. The team swaps have been really difficult for him. He has mentioned to me, but he's become a better individual through that and learning to be a more assertive mid laner, which I'm really excited for.
Yeah, so the idea of like being a rookie, still a rookie, you need to have 2 splits pretty much for NACL to not be considered a rookie anymore, I think. But the idea of this combine, yes, it's easy to play in the team environment that you scrim with. You're, there in game days. You know your set five, so you completely learn how everyone else plays. You synergize. But the idea of this combine is you will be able to learn how other people play as well, and it develops your own ability to play, knowing how, let's say, Samikin has never played with Dr. Calculus, obviously. Dr. Calculus might have knowledge that Quacker just didn't have, and vice versa. And they can kind of build on each other, developing their own skills and make them a better player. Additionally, they kind of start adapting a little bit more to other playstyles, which makes them a better overall player.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Bully. And the adaptation is really how a lot of these young players are going to grow. So, given the fact that the team compositions are from a very much small pool of available champions, and not surprising that we haven't really talked about the potential picks as the team compositions are locked in. I really am interested to see how a Zoe works in the composition of Team Will, mostly because this composition you have seen at Worlds, right? This is a 4 champion suite that you have seen some of the top Korean and Chinese teams play. And, I'm not really sure where Zoe fits into it other than just poke against a team like Team Bio, where they have a little bit of sustain, but certainly have the ability to engage on a dime.
Yeah, the idea of Team Bio, the reason why they Fitz picked this the Seraphine was because of the ability to double W with the shield. It just negates a lot of the damage. You sometimes saw like an NACL, the picks against Samkin was like a Seraphine, like a Taric,
Mhm.
just trying to like make sure that those poke damage does not stick at all. This time you only have a Seraphine, so Samkin should be able to get off a decent amount of poke, but a big thing about that is it's very easy for Bio to land that Glacial Prison onto Samkin if he's going for a little bit of aggressive poke plays, and he puts himself out to a position where the Glacial Prison he just throws where Samkin first used the R, and Samkin might be in a world of pain after that.
And he's going to have to get ahead, right? Because Otter has picked Tristana, which, an aggressive early AD focused mid laner. Tristana, despite the nerfs that have gone through onto this champion, are still really, really impactful when trying to just go in, jump on somebody, pop the E, and then leap out, or even go for a little bit more and force Samikin away. We are heading right into game, but we have a very small change as Bully will be stepping out. Thank you very much for covering the draft. Shibby will be joining me once we get into Summoner's Rift, so don't go anywhere because I'm sure you're not tired of hearing myself and Shibby yap on about League of Legends for a long time.
Keep moving on. And they say I have a grim sense of humor.
All right, everybody, thank you for your patience. We are here for the first game of this 3-block set of the Cyto GG Path to Pro 2024 Combine. Shibby is with me now. Thank you, Shibby, for stepping in. So, out of these team compositions, there's 2 wrinkles put in them. 2 champions that are not on the available champions list, quote unquote, but they were allowed to pick. Seraphine over on Team Bio, and then it's Zoe over on Team Will. Are you shocked about the Zoe?
I'm not shocked about the Zoe, although I will say these champions being allowed is a little interesting. I understand there were more, like you said, rigid rules, right? Like you have to focus on these champions, stuff like that. Sammykin getting Zoe kind of feels like a cheat code, especially because I think a lot of the criticisms around Sammykin is that in Fearless, he had a lot of his niche champions, right? Things like the Lux. I would say Hui, not necessarily niche, but very good on that. Sammykin Zoe as well. But he had to work on stuff like, in my opinion, expand his champion on the more melee-centric champions. Things like the Yone, potentially the Akali, Silas, that kind of stuff. And, you know, this definitely puts a little bit of trouble on the side of Team Bio because they have to deal with the specialist, right? This guy is amazing on this champion.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, I'll be frank about it. I'm not exactly happy that Sammykin went with his Zoe, especially in this combine where you could pick one champion, any champion that's not on the list, and he elects to pick his Zoe when he picked his Zoe on R4 after Ashe, Seraphine, and Sejuani were already showing. That is the most clear Silas angle I have ever seen.
I mean, it's tough as well because the Silas into
it would have been a blind. It would have been a blind Silas.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would have liked that a lot more. We can now get to the action. Is Scary Jerry getting some good shields from Kim down, but the trade going toward Levitate M Dum Dum. Is that a bit of a surprise, Shibby, given the fact that we know Kalista Renata is incredibly aggressive, but Seraphine also is able to pump out a lot of damage to make these trades even, as Kim Down's going to flash a handshake.
Kim Down's going to flash that handshake and
Barrier.
Levitate.
Barrier used, Levitate, has to walk up and then flash away, and he goes down to Kim Down.
Let's go down to KD there and Scary Jerry. I will say this. I feel like I've been seeing Scary Jerry on a lot more utility-focused champions. I don't know if that's been more of a focus from his end or if that's been more of a focus on the Cyto GG Combine end, right? I saw him on Ziggs. I've seen him on Jin, these kind of champions. I know Scary Jerry for like the hard carry stuff, right? Like team fighting monster. He's able to just pop off, and he has gotten to play those champions here and there. But it's nice to see these guys perform on not just the hard carry stuff, but also be utility focused. As I say that.
Yeah, Dum Dum goes to stop the recalls, and while he did his job, he gives another kill over to the Team Bio bot lane.
Scary Jerry and Kim down, both fighting or working for a spot for the next 5 invites to the LA portion of this combine, right? We've already got a couple of members. We already got 5 people confirmed here, but I want to see what these guys are going to bring out to the table, right? Because now the pressure's on. The first 5 have been added. You've got a lot to compete with. You've got to show pretty much the best you can. And Cyto has talked about, and specifically Path has talked about, like, it's not important just to win these combines, but to show that, like, you know, you're moldable. Show that, you know, we can get the most out of you both in LA and in Korea here. So these players might have to show something that they haven't had to show before.
One player that's certainly going to want to show their stuff in this match is Bio, because his opposite number has already secured a spot. So I think the best way to, you know, or not maybe the best way, but a good way to show that, hey, I am worth taking a chance on to go out there is by getting the better of your opposite number who's already gotten an invite. Because Levitate may be level 4, but they simply do not have the power to contend with Kim Down and Scary Jerry, as Dum Dum is just eating arrow after arrow after arrow.
This is a rough lane for Levitate and Dum Dum here. The double ranged, right? Renata's double ranged too, but Seraphine just outranges them by quite a big margin. And on top of that, making it so that these Ashe slows, the abilities, the autos, they land, and then you can follow up, right, with Seraphine, makes this a really tough lane to navigate, right? This Kalista Renata, typically one of those more lane-dominant picks, struggling right now against Scary Jerry and KD.
Yeah, the biggest problem has been they've tried to be aggressive. They've tried to fit the mold of their champions, and it has just not paid off. It has, in fact, burnt them, giving over 2 kills worth of gold. That's the reason why Team Bio has about 1,000 gold lead. Will starting up on the Dragon here, has Samikin in the jungle of Bio, just trying to cause a lot of problems with that priority. So despite the bot lane struggling a little bit, you know, Scary Jerry and Kim Down haven't been able to do a lot of anything, and they're lane swapping here.
Yeah, I like this. This is could also be, you know, what I've liked to call it is like a fast swap, right? Where they swap their bot lane to the top side, take the grubs, and then their bottom lane that swapped top then goes back down to bottom lane again here. So that might end up happening. I've seen a lot of teams doing this at the Combine here as Dr. Calculus is back. Does get stopped by Scary Jerry here. That's going to put a delay. But yeah, the grubs spawning at the 6-minute mark should allow Team Bio to secure these with relative ease.
I like that. Kim Down is here to help Otter get this lane shoved out. All those grubs are getting done. Otter are going to be able to make the move. You know, don't see a world where these grubs are going to be contested at all. Maybe somebody would think about trying to swipe one, maybe a wry handshake from Dum Dum, but does not look like it'll be the case, as he'll rejoin his AD carry up on the top side this time.
Yeah, so typically what's happened now is that the top lane that swapped, or the bottom lane that swapped top, they'll try to get the lane shoved in as fast as possible, and then they'll go back down.
I love
there's
the
a
sweep
angle, they'll look for it.
Oh, I have no idea that Bio's here. It was a really good sweep. Takes the first turret shot. It looks like they're interested in really just plates right now, leveraging those 3 grubs to try to get their first plate.
Yeah, really, really smart play. I think if Bio was level 6, they might have gone for that dive. Unfortunately, he's level 5 here. It's a little too risky, especially with the fact that Renata is on that top side. But Zin's going to have to answer, right? He's going to have to come around, hover here. His camps are on the top side as well. But he's going to have to make sure that his laners are safe here, because you don't want to see Levitate and Dum Dum take too much damage and potentially give a redive angle for Bio, Scary Jerry, and Kim Down, as the top laners are now fighting in the bottom side here, but just a whole bunch of shoving back and forth, right? Top laners fighting doesn't really get me excited anymore.
No. And one thing I really liked the timing on the play from Bio, because Will was on a recall, didn't have anything to do on the map, so it was a free timer for Bio. He's like, you know what, let me go up here, let me create some pressure. He's now hit level 6, so I'm assuming the next time we see him show up, somebody is going to go down.
Yeah, and look at the fast swap happening again. Like we mentioned, they swapped to the top side, got the grubs, shoved a wave or two in, and now the bot lane is back going down to bot lane, right? They recalled, and they're going to be first on this wave here. I love that teams have been doing this, and like it's very, very heads up play, right? If you have the better bot lane, if you have the dominant bot lane, swap them up 6 minutes or 5 minutes, 45 seconds in, get them to that grubs and secure that for your team, because that is a very solid win condition, right? You win one team fight and you have 6 grubs, 5 grubs potentially, you can push down 2 turrets very, very easily here, as well as Team Bio's bot lane getting that extra plate. Jet sets them in gold just a little bit as it's a 1,000 gold lead.
And Shadow Crystal Arrow lands. Great ultimate from Levitate there to get Dum Dum out of harm's way. They burn both on the blue side. Now Will is in the area after turning off the ward. Good ultimate from Bio to try to keep Will away, but it doesn't land on anybody. And now Will taking a little bit of damage, but Levitate and Dum Dum have moved up. Kim down forced to flash away. Scary Jerry's got a flash. Bio's got a flash. And Will, with relentless pursuit going forward, needs one more auto attack to take him down. Has the bailout. Still can't get close to Bio. Meanwhile, Scary Jerry and Levitate going at it. The barrier is out. Can Scary Jerry get the job done? Levitate is so low, but Dum Dum gets rooted and goes down. What a fight.
Oh, back and forth. These guys playing on a knife's edge. A bit of an overchase from Team Will there. Keeps Dum Dum's a life in danger there and allows him to get taken down by both Scary Jerry and KD. Very, very well played. That Sejuani just a little too tanky.
So close to takedown. Really, it was the well-timed charge from Sejuani to get out of the way after Xin Zhao had completed his audacious charge. He landed, and then Bio not able to do much as Samikin gets a solo kill onto Otter. It feels like at any point in time you see Samikin land a bubble, you're like, yep, whoever he hit is not surviving.
Yeah, once the bubble hit, I was like, that guy's just dead. Like, there's no way. Even if you flash over, Samikin can steal that flash or use his own flash. A bit of a rough laning phase, I would say. I mean, like I said, it's kind of unfair that Samikin gets to get his Zoe, but we mentioned one non-standard or one champion that's not on that list does get to be picked up here, as the bot lane has swapped back up to the top side for the second round of grubs. Again, another fast swap coming out from Team Bio.
Really like this, especially since they have a Tristana on their side. You know, Cassante is going to get good value out of it if he's left unchecked at certain times. If the Team Bio can be on top of their rotations, which they have been so far, as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands, a handshake was well timed on top of it, as Dum Dum just can't move. Quacker coming in from the side to make sure that this kill gets secured by somebody, and it's Scary Jerry who gets it.
Very beautiful arrow from Scary Jerry, but also Kim Down following it up with that encore like you mentioned, and they're going to keep fishing for these. I love Ashe in the sense that she's such a non-committal engage.
Oh, it was a great tag onto Samikin up there. It looks like he'll be able to walk out without a problem. As Calculus and Quacker, you know you said you didn't get excited about top lane fights, but Quacker certainly lost quite a bit of health.
Lost quite a bit of health, but Dr. Galaxy just have to back out there. The all-out still available on Quacker's side. You can turn the tide of those fights. When Sunny gets low, I'm never really worried because I'm like, oh, all-out can happen and someone's life bar can just get absolutely deleted there. But I like how Calculus has been kind of abusing the ranged versus melee matchup, or the pseudo-ranged versus melee. The Dum Dum invests the ultimate.
Takeover. And I like that Quacker's fighting Calculus down here. He burns his ghost. He's trying to make sure he just can't teleport. Will goes in with the audacious charge. When becomes lightning lands, as Kim Down takes so much damage as Dum Dum got thrown into the fray, and he gets a kill for himself.
That's going to give Tristana or Otter some alone time with this mid lane turret, especially with 6 grubs available. She's going to shred this turret pretty quickly. I think she's going to be able to pick up about 2 turret plates of solo gold for themselves here. Very well played from Otter here. You can't really follow. You could have TP'd, but it would have been your death. Samikin does land that bubble.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
a lot of damage.
Yeah, Bio is here to try to protect Scary Jerry, and it will work out. They find a kill onto Samikin. Just pushing a little bit too hard.
Yeah, getting a little bit over aggressive there. No flash available for Samikin as well. So once you just get tagged by one of those Ashe autos, it can be really hard to get out of range. And with Will coming in for the secure, tanking potentially a bubble or even a Q as the TP comes in all out.
Oh no, he missed him! Quacker missed him, and that's going to result in no plates for Team Bio. Very critical with these plates falling with a minute left to go.
He didn't even have the all out available, so he had to land that shove. He had to land, I believe, the unbreakable. Couldn't do it. Was, I think, like a fraction of an inch off, right? Like maybe one more Teemo and he gets there, right? One
Less
more
than a
Teemo.
Teemo. Listen,
Less
we gotta
than a
bring
Teemo.
out the chain gang to measure that one. That's how close that was, Shivy. As the second dragon goes over to the side of Team Will. He's done a good job of securing those two dragons, but I must say I am a little disappointed by this early game Xin Zhao. Really just only getting in on one assist. I think Team Bio has done a good job, though, of keeping him at arm's length. A couple of really hairy situations that resulted in no kills.
It's also tough to kind of be active as one of these early game junglers when lanes are swapping back and forth, top and bottom lane. You can kind of tell, okay, I can't really gank top lane because there's going to be 4 members here. I'll get collapsed on. It's not your standard lanes where Xin Zhao can kind of look to pressure a little bit more or has more opportunities to pressure. So in this case, he's kind of more of an engage tool, can be appealed to with his ultimate. Do you see?
A lot of
Fighting in the
ults not
lane.
landing. Scary Jerry getting engaged on, but a great encore lands on the 3. But just as good from the Renata as Bio is forced to flash
Walker's
away.
here.
The rune is down onto Will. He's got a flash too, but he does have to bail out on him. He took too much damage, and you can't bail him out as Quacker's in the middle of it and takes out Dum Dum. Levitate gets all outed over to the side. He's got a flash away as Calculus is charging towards the Cassante. He's gone unstoppable, and he realizes his life is forfeit.
Overall, 1 for 2 there. Will and Dum Dum go down for the exchange of Quacker, but Samikin's full HP. The siege can still continue. This is a very deadly Zoe.
Well, not quite hitting Otter there, but you are right. They need to be careful with that sleepy trouble bubble and all these paddle stars coming through. Samikin's just got to land one of them. The big problem is no grubs for Team Will, and you can tell the hardship that it created here in this mid lane.
Yeah, it's tough to siege as well with the Callista and the Zinzal. Although Samikin does provide that little extra poke, like you said, with the CP Trouble Bubbles, with the Paddle Stars, as the Flash does get used from Samikin. The stolen Flash, let's call it. Herald goes down to Team Bio because they have that man advantage. They cannot lose at mid lane prio on the side of Team Will. So 6 grubs, 1 Herald over to Team Bio, but 2 dragons crucially going over to Team Will. And it is a mountain dragon as well, a mountain soul on the menu. There's a very real possibility Team Will can secure some of these dragons and really stifle this double 80 carry composition from Team Bio, right? They've only got Tristana and Ashe for damage.
They're going to need it, because if this game happens to go long and Team Bio is able to leverage what they have, a Samikin gets hit by a cross-map Enchanted Crystal Arrow and is just CC'd nearly to death. He's taken to half HP, which means Otter should have some free time on this turret. He dodges out on the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. I mean, that was a good use of an Ashe ultimate.
Yeah, Scary Jerry has been 3 for 3, at least from what I've seen. Right? He's hit the one in the mid lane. He hit the one on the top lane against Sammy, can secure that kill, and hits another one onto Sammy on that bot side. That one doesn't result in a kill, but has been absolutely lethal with these Ashe arrows so far as Quacker and Calculus fighting it out again.
All right, All Out gets burnt. Calculus is going to go Meganar, but he's already taken a whole lot of damage. Knocks Quacker into the wall, but I think Quacker is going to have the better of him, as Bio's got a skedaddle from the Dragon Pit.
That was a ton of damage that came out from Quacker's Cassante there. That's what I said. Like, it doesn't matter how low Cassante gets. The moment he popped that all out, it is a completely different game here. As we saw Otter actually TP to the top side to secure that turret. They might actually push for the tier 2. At least Otter will.
Yeah, I love that teleport. Samikin going to take the back here. Not going to respond with his own teleport, which means that, listen, this turret should just be Otter's. Now, Levitate and Dum Dum with a great rotation up here. Let's see what the move is for Otter. It looks like he's just going to focus on trying to take out this turret. He ults away Levitate. He gets hand shook, but Otter will claim the turret. Does not have any shutdown gold, so you'll take it. As a Rift Herald gets utilized in mid lane as well. 2 turrets taken very quickly for the side of Team Bio.
Big money plays coming out from Team Bio there, right? 700 gold going into Otter's pocket, right? Gives a little bit of that back over to Team Will as the Dragon is coming up in 30 seconds. Remember, Otter doesn't have TP, so he's got to walk from Fountain over to this Dragon, which should allow Team Will to at least get the first move and clear out some of this vision. But a lot of gold going into the pockets of Team Bio there, as you can see. They have now jet setted themselves 4,000 gold in the lead.
And now Team Bio's at a crossroads here, Shibby. When this Dragon comes up, are they going to try and fight while Otter isn't there? Teleport going to be used by Quacker. As Bio is sleeping on the job a little bit here. Quacker manages to escape safely as the vision is getting cleared, but that has allowed enough time for Otter to rejoin the team here. Team Bio has to be very careful. They need to make sure this Dragon does not go to Team Will.
Arrow comes
Crystal
out.
Arrow lands. Levitate gets rooted. He's got a cleanse. Quacker takes a lot of damage as Will looks to go in. Ultimate lands on to Calculus. That Sejuani ultimate did a lot as the hostile takeover hits too. Encore also hits too for pretty key members as Will charges forward, knocks away 4. They only have Quacker for right now, but they're looking for Bio, who's tagged up and slowed and can't go anywhere. It's a double kill for Calculus as Team Will has driven away the side of Team Bio as Will puts the exclamation point by taking out Otter.
Very good fight from Team Will there. They tanked pretty much every form of CC possible, right? The Encore, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, the Sejuani Ultimate, the Glacial Prison, like we said. And they had Cleanse to work with, as well as Dum Dum rushing that Mikhails for his team. Just kind of negates any sort of engagement from Team Bio there. And that's going to be the third Dragon going over into the favor of Team Will here, putting them one step closer to that Mountain Soul and potentially one step closer to that victory.
Team Bio was unable to leverage the gold that they got from that prior play, and they paid for it dearly as they now only lead by about 2,000 and are staring down a Mountain Soul that'll be up around the 24-25 minute mark, Shibby. It's not a very slow soul, which means you haven't gotten time for your carries to get these items. It's exactly what you talked about.
Yeah, they had all that gold, but it didn't really amount to anything. It was fake money. It's like Dogecoin, right? It was fake. It's fake crypto, man. That's what it is right now. They unfortunately could not cash in on it, and that allowed Team Will to kind of take advantage of the fact that there's only like single target CC on this team, right? Other than Kim Down hitting a massive Encore. Glacial Prison is going to land on one person. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to land on one person. All out, realistically, can only land on one person. And with two pretty cleansable forms of CC in the fact of Levitate having cleanse and Dum Dum having the Mikhails, once you weather that storm, it gives all credence to Will to go in, isolate somebody out with his ultimate, and just focus them down as Levitate.
You just saw it there, but Levitate got charmed. He's CC'd for a long time. Hostile takeover goes out, but from the backside it was Quacker, which means Levitate goes down. Dum Dum goes down as they get knocked over by Dominoes. Calculus is coming in, but Will's already fallen. A quick play from Team Bio to wrest control back, and they're headed to the Baron.
And that's the dream fight scenario for Team Bio there. Because Levitate doesn't have cleanse, Dum Dum can only cleanse either the Glacial Prison or the Encore. And because the Encore extends when you hit your teammates, the fact that Bio was parked himself right in front of Levitate allows that Encore to hit, and the rest of the damage comes in. Also a beautiful flank from Quacker, kind of pinces Team Will here, and they're going to be able to pick up that Baron. Very, very good team fight. When they're stacked upon each other, when they can layer their CC, that's where Levitate and the rest of Team Will can't really do much about it.
You see, Levitate has finished his Edge of Night because this is a very, very hard team composition for him to play into, even with the Mikhails, even with his cleanse. Now, it's going to be much harder to get the fight started off of him.
Yeah, they've got to land some long-range ability. Either most likely would be Kim Down's Q, or maybe his ultimate. Even then, wasting that on the Banshees, or not the Banshees, the Edge of Night, like you said, could be rough. Levitate would have loved to have that 5 seconds ago, right?
Yeah.
Prior to that fight, he would have loved to be able to finish that there. Really smart fishing opportunity from Team Bio there to make sure that you can get that kill. That, like you said, leads into the Baron. And some of this wave clear might be a little rough here, as it is just Levitate and Samikin that can really kind of pierce some of these minions. Its magic damage is rough on the side of Team Will. These minions are going to last for a pretty long time
Yeah, like there's not a whole lot of clearing going on as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands. Charm onto 2 as well as Calculus is close to getting popped. A heal came out, Dum Dum gets pulled in. Somehow, some way, Team Will keeps all their members alive.
Yeah, it's really hard to go super aggressive onto Dum Dum because of the Callista ultimate there. And it's also really difficult to go onto the Callista because of Edge of Night and Cleanse and Mikhail's. You've got to kind of find arrows either onto Samikin, onto Will, or you've got to find 2 to 3 different forms of CC to layer onto Levitate. Now that he has Cleanse available, he's a lot more confident stepping up into these waves, stepping up into these minions, and clearing them out here. Although the tier 2 in the bottom lane, like you said, was secured overall. Let's see if we can get this mid tier 2 as well.
It's a good rotation. Will getting slow, takes a lot of damage, but he's going to go all the way in. Hostile takeover out. It's going to land on the 2 members as Will is on Scary Jerry, but Scary Jerry is now untouched, turning onto Calculus. Calculus knocked over to the wall, but he's going to fall. He can't get bailed out. Dum Dum going to be the next target as Scary Jerry has sort of turned his sights to Will. Will is close to the wall, but doesn't have anywhere to go. He's trying to kill Otter, and he manages to snag the kill, but finally falls. Scary Jerry takes a lot of damage, and now it's Quacker on Dum Dum and Levitate. Dum Dum getting a heal. The bailout is there, but he will not survive it, and Levitate goes down too. Samikin with the bio on the other side, trying to leap around and break the ankles, but Kim Down is here to help out, but Samikin's just putting the moves on him. My goodness, man, somebody contain this guy. Will he walk away with a kill? Yes, he will. Now Kim Down going to be the next target as he dodges out on everything. He's sleepy, and it's a double kill out of Samikin somehow, some way.
That's not Samikin, that's Sammy Salsa Shoes over there as he's absolutely dancing on Team Bio's corpses. He's dipped, ducked, dodged, and dipped his way out of that fight. He picked up Scary Jerry, he picked up Bio, and he picked up Kim Down. When I said it was unfair for Samikin to have Zoe, this is what I was talking about.
His team only lost the mid-inner turret and the inhibitor turret. They are still in this game simply because of what Samikin did in that last fight. And now it's going to take a while for Bio to get here. And Kim Down has just spawned as well. This Dragon Soul, Shibby, looks like it'll go over to Team Will.
Yeah, Mountain Soul, very, very huge pickup for Team Will here. Levitate still does have the Cleanse. Flash still available for Samikin. A lot of summoners available.
Hey, Bio's here now. Will be secured for Team Will. And you mentioned it's going to be really hard for Team Bio to break through these shields. Samikin's starting to deal a lot of damage. Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands flush on to Levitate. He cleanses, but he gets charmed again, but he's stunned again, and he's still stuck in a corridor, but now he's starting to fight back as Quacker is getting taken low. Good heal from the Redemption as Aruk goes down on the Calculus. He can't quite find a way in. They rebuff whatever Team Bio has to offer.
Now Samikin has the Redemption for himself as well here. Can provide a big heal for his team. And you can see how hard it is to chew through some of these health bars, the extra resistances, the shields, especially onto members like Dr. Calculus, like Will, who are much tankier now with this Mountain Soul. How does Team Bio get back into this? This double AD carry composition now has to go through a brick wall of tankiness. Mountain Soul, like you said, secured by Team Will here. And now you just got to start stacking some armor if you are Dr. Calculus or Will here. And you become nigh unkillable.
Keep in mind that later on in the game, Callista eventually builds Jackshaw.
Oh,
so
yeah.
If you get to that point, you're not going to be able to kill Levitate at all. Even if you find him and he doesn't have any way to break out of the CC. But I don't even know if that'll happen, as Soul will be, or not Soul, I'm sorry, Elder Dragon will be on the menu in 4.5 minutes. It may be a 6,000 gold lead for the side of Team Bio, but as you said, it's a Crypto Bro gold lead right now.
It's a Dogecoin. It's Dogecoin right now for Team Bio here, as there are 35 seconds coming up for this Baron, and respect where respect is due. Team Bio do have to kind of clear out as Will and the rest of the gang kind of muscle their way in onto this red side of their jungle.
Team Bio still has a lot of presence available as they are walking in, and Will does take some damage. There is good poke out of Scary Jerry and Kim Down. The question is, are you going to be able to poke them for so much and then eventually be able to start a fight off of that? I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, you don't want to get into a poking war with Zoe as well, specifically. Even more dire is that Samikin Zoe, who just
They're
happens
starting the
to be. Yeah, they're starting the Baron right now, but they don't doesn't have as much damage. He's not going as fast as you'd like here. Rest of the gang is going to come from Team Will's side. 7,000 HP on this Baron. Are they going to flip it? Or are they going to turn? Are they going to burn? Or are they going to turn here?
Calculus en route. Good handshake on the Quacker as Bio's asleep as on Otter, Scary Jerry, and Kim down moving to the mid lane, trying to get that inside track, maybe looking for that inhibitor. Samikin just being a general nuisance, making life very hard for the side of Team Bio.
And unfortunately, the Baron is going to regen all the way to full there. And they can't do much about it. There's nothing to be said as Team Bio kind of feel like they're stuck in a very precarious position as Quacker.
Quacker has to ghost. He's trying to unstoppable every bit of CC, and Chinner Crusader lands onto Will, the root as well, to make sure that Quacker gets out of there. But a stark difference, Shibby. Now they're using their CC defensively.
Yeah, and that's when you know maybe we're in a tough pickle. As
Kim down, he's got a flash, but that's not going to save you, bud. He gets bursted out. No encore needed. Quacker trying to get on the Dum Dum, but now has to head back to his turret as everybody's on top of him. He's all outing back into the middle of the team just to survive. Bio's ultimate doesn't land on anybody. The redemption coming out to keep Will upright. And the hostile takeover. They're beating the crap out of each other, Shibby. As the knockup goes down, Scary Jerry in the bounce house. Otter, the last one standing, gets one kill, but joins his team in the grave. 29 minutes into the game, Shibby, and it looks like Team Will's on the death march.
Team Will turn it around. They've been down in gold pretty much the whole match, but like we said, it doesn't matter. It's faux pas gold. As Kim down, the sole surviving member, respawning back into his base. I don't think he can defend it, though. Can he? Levitate?
Levitate took a lot of damage there, a lot of fiat currency on Kim down right now, but maybe he's got a miracle in his pockets. He's going to look for Levitate, but I don't think it's enough, as Will has said. I am just ending this game, team.
Unfortunately, Team Bio, full of lemons, full of unmarketable tomatoes, as Team Will is going to be able to take that off the back of a massive clutch performance from Samikin. That topside fight, or that mid lane fight near the Wolves, he picks up 3. If he misclicks one step too far forward or one step to the side, that fight goes very, very differently. That push goes very, very differently here. Look at the gold. Look at the gold graph.
Yeah, they were still ahead in gold.
I don't see a smidge of red.
No,
there's
not
no red at all.
They were ahead the entire time, and well, they're still ahead, and they will forever be ahead in gold that game. They will just not be ahead in Nexus score, I guess. As
Kamala's all over this.
Samikin dropping 33.8k damage, and that dragon fight, or not the dragon fight. I'm sorry, the jungle fight was really the defining moment for Samikin. Just showing how much of an excellent pilot he is on this champion in close quarters too. That is so hard to do. Use his ultimate to properly dodge out of every single skill necessary. Dodged out of multiple skill shots. Like, without that, maybe Team Bio takes this dragon and we're still in this game, where this game may actually have been in favor of Team Bio.
Yeah, a bit of a heroic performance for Samikin there. It was kind of quiet, I would say, in the mid game a little bit, right? He had that one solo kill in the early game.
He was very quiet in the game in general before that.
Yeah, and then that big, play, that big clutch genetics from Samikin, like we said, able to pilot his champ to the utmost efficiency and picks up the win with his team. Tough situation, because if you are Team Bio, you played all the swaps right? The grub swaps, both fast swaps into the first round of grubs, the second round of grubs. You won that team fight into the mid lane. That allowed you to secure the Herald. You picked up a ton of solo gold for Otter, right? 700 in his favor on the top side. You picked up the mid lane turret. That was another, 400? I mean, I felt like they played the map relatively correctly, other than their objective setup or maybe their conscious decision to give some of those early dragons over. But it's rough. It's rough because that comes from a more of like, hey, we need to get here a minute before, right? Some of the stuff that they have to play for as well. That last dragon just happened to be coinciding with the fact of that end of that team fight, which allowed Team Will to kind of pick that up on the back end, right? Team Quacker or Team Bio never really had a chance to properly contend any of these dragons here, which may, have been the difference maker. If they get one of those mountain dragons, that extends the Dragon Soul for Team Will, and that potentially allows Team Bio to pick up that Baron that they were so careful on trying to burn down the first time. The second time, they just didn't have enough damage.
Yeah, from the moment they made that play to get those multiple turrets and say, you know what, we'll allow Team Will to get to the Dragon Pit first and not winning that fight with their gold advantage, that's when it looked like it spelled doom for the side of Team Bio, because then you had to play perfectly the rest of the game, and they kind of just lost their heads, weren't really thinking about the ramifications of, well, what if Samikin manages to kill us here? And then they found out real quick what happens if Samikin beats you in that fight when his team has 3 dragons. We're going to go to break as the teams are going to break away, review for a little bit, and then reconvene with the same restrictions in place going into the next game. Don't go anywhere. We will see you soon. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Sido GG Combine. As the teams have flipped sides, so we're going to see what they're going to pick up here in the draft, Shibby. So we're going to see another first pick Ash, much like the last draft.
Yeah, we mentioned there are some limitations, all right, for the draft here. If you have been paying attention on social media, or if you guys weren't in here for game one, these guys have some limited champion pools. So top lane is only allowed to pick Jax, Gnar, Rumble, Renekton, Cassante. Jungle, Vi, Sejuani, Nocturne, Zinzal, Ivern. Mid lane is Ahri, Orianna, Sylas, Mulder, Tristana. AD carries, you pick Ashe, Kalista, Kai'Sa, Ziggs, Ezreal. And support is Rel, Rakan, Leona, Renata, and Braum. Each team may pick one champion that is not listed here. Hence why we saw the Zoe in game one for Samikhin, right? So that's why that was a big reason. And we also saw the Seraphine lock in for, I believe, Team Bio on the side of Kim Down. So we might see something similar. One champion not allowed. And I think that is actually just going to be that Corki that gets locked in for Team Bio, right? The sides have swapped. So Team Will be on the blue side and Team Bio will be on the red side. Corki, a power pick. One of those characters that just got insanely strong for no reason.
Yeah, he is really incredible, able to just clear waves so quickly. My favorite thing to do is just a W on the wave and pop my E, and you just insta-clear the wave. Makes it really useful to get like cheater recalls off, which is really fantastic. And yes, was one of the champions that was banned in the first game, but is not on the approved list of champions. But I'm sure Corki will... I hope Corki will have time to prove his worth maybe into 2025 or whatever late 2024 tier, like high tier esports events we see. So we'll see what the jury is on that. Orianna going to be the lock in here for Team 2. That'll go over to Samikhin. And I like the nucleus that they have with Ashe, Sejuani, Orianna. It's perfect.
Yeah, going for something kind of similar to what we saw last game, or one of the comps that we saw last game, as we see a double AD carry composition paired up with Ivern. That is a beautiful, beautiful pairing here. Although not your traditional kind of auto attack necessarily based AD carries. Corki has rockets, has his E-Shred, still autos a ton. Ezreal still autos a ton in these team fights, even though he's a lot more reliant on his Mystic Shot, his Q, his repositioning, that kind of stuff. But yeah, the Sejuani, Ashe, Orianna, you throw your CC in, and then that gives a guaranteed Orianna Shockwave onto whoever gets CC'd up by either the Glacial Prison or the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. So Cleanse is going to have to be taken by Ezreal on top of the support, or in this case, maybe the Ivern, actually probably building Mikhail's here. What I want to see from red side specifically, you have some picks here. I need to see
know
the
what I
tanks
want to see.
around. Yeah, tanks. I want to see tanks.
I want to see Renekton.
Wow.
It's literally how FlyQuest had Bwipo play so well. They just paired him with an Ivern. So that's what I want to see. I think Ivern gives you enough tankiness, gives you another aggressive threat in the top lane. Jax is still acceptable, right? He kind of fits a similar mold. I would have rather seen Renekton, but a bit of a safer blind pick as well, as Renekton will get burnt by the side of Team 2, as they will utilize their one outside the box pick, and then Braum will be locking it down. It's a sick Braum pick here.
Team 2 doesn't have an outside the box pick, right?
They don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all on the approved list, I believe. They could have gone awry, but they chose not to. And all these champions very, very good. Build a very solid foundational comp, like you said. I think you used the word nucleus. I love that word. Very, very good. Ashe, Sejuani, Braum. Braum's very good into double AD carry. Also very good into things like the Rakan and the Jax, who are going to be coming up into the melee range here. And Renekton should have a dominant or favored laning phase into the Jax, right? Jax starts to pull away later, right? Renekton can rush his 2-item power spike. Typically you see like the Eclipse into Starax, or even sometimes the Eclipse into Sundered Sky, depending on what they want to go. And then they can kind of just like one-shot your AD carry, right? Whether it's the Corki, whether it's the Ezreal, he can tear through a lot of these shields very easily. And on top of that, you've got decent ball delivery system, right? Slice and dice, Sejuani charge. You have ways to land your Shockwave or assist in landing that Shockwave here. Well, on the side of Team Bio, on this red side, I mean, they've got a really nice late game scaling composition, right? Corki, Ezreal, Jax. Like, Jax plus Iron shielding can become very problematic for Team Will here if they can't deal with it, if they can't keep this Jax down early enough.
Yeah, it really results in Dr. Calculus needs to take over this game early. If Dr. Calculus can take over the game early, set the Jax behind, utilize Renekton's early power, give yourself a nice boost of gold to be able to run some of these team fights later on, it will mean that Team Will is just able to take whatever objectives they want, right? If you're strong on the top side, guess what? Grubs are yours. And with the ultimates that Team 2 has to be able to put together, they've got a really solid team fight if they want to be able to contest dragons. Honestly, a much better team fight than Team 1, but Team 1 may just have the inevitability, right? Corki and Ezreal are going to be able to do damage. If they avoid any initial upfront burst, they don't get caught by an Orianna shockwave, namely, then they'll be fine. They should be in good shape to be able to whittle down the side of Team Will. Shibby, I have to ask, out of all of these drafts, who do you think came away with the victory in the draft at the very least?
I love Red Side's draft. I love Ivern. I love the fact that they paired up with Double A to carry. If I believe in the power of Corki the way I do, I think this team is pretty hard to defeat, right? You've got to get out to some early leads on the side of the Renekton. This Ashe Braum lane has to try to smash as early as possible, right? It's really focused on securing early dragons, forcing early skirmishes, forcing early combat, and kind of pushing towards that dragon soul, whatever it may be, and hoping that it kind of, falls in your favor, right? Whether it be because it's a mountain soul, infernal, hex tech, all those kind of things. You can't let this game go past like 26, 27 minutes. That's where it becomes very, very dicey for blue side here, because they've got to deal with a 2 to 3 item Ezreal, a 2 to 3 item Corki, a 2 to 3 item Jax, all while having redemption shields, Ivern shields, Moonstone, on top of this Rakan, who's going to be like hard engaging onto your team. Very, very rough to deal with. I think post 27 minutes, as long as Red Side can keep the gold relatively even, you are A-okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of niche spots, right, where Calculus can break a big shield on somebody, right, if he has the opportunity to get back onto them. It's on Otter or it's on Scary Jerry, and he's like, yep, I got on top of you, I broke your shield, what are you going to do now? You're going to get bursted out. But it definitely favors Team Bio as the game progresses. I really want to take a look at this mid lane. Namely, first of all, Samikin is playing a control mage, which, he's quite good at control mages. Typically, the ones that are a little more out there, Lux was a really big one during the NACL season that he wanted to at least play a little bit. But I am interested to see how Orianna stacks up against Corki, because I really haven't seen this matchup too much after Corki's changes. And Orianna is one of those champions that really early on you can expose, because a lot of people don't put a point E until level 3. And if you don't have any points at E, that's where your armor and your magic resistance comes from. So if Corki's going to roll up to you, a WE on you, you have negative armor.
Yeah, he's just going to rock up, Gatling gun you, shred you for everything you've got, strip you bare pretty much, and absolutely take you down there. And that's where a lot of that power budget comes in with this Corki, because of the changes, because he's in Worlds, or because he's, they're out of that Worlds favor and he's not really picked that much. Riot, for whatever reason, decided to give him some love here, and he's kind of jet-setted himself back into the meta, and it will be rough for Samikin to navigate this. But if there's anyone in this Combine that can give the fancy feat, that can navigate laning phase, that can come up with the clutch moments, we just saw Sammy do it in Game 1, and Orianna's one of those champions that can absolutely flip the script of a fight with one huge shockwave.
Without a doubt, Shibby, these team fights are going to be very explosive for the side of Team Will early on. I'm very excited to see how they utilize their pressure in their lanes when they're able to group up, and if they can just hit their ultimates, because realistically, Shibby, that's all they need to do. We are in the spectator delay right now, so we are going to take it to a break, and when we return, we'll be on Summoner's Rift for Game 2 of this 3-block set with these 10 fantastic young North American players. right, otters and people who love North American League of Legends, we've made it on to Summer's Rift for Game 2 of this 3-block matchup between Team Will and Team Bio, as it tripped me up for a second, as Team Bio is not quite correct on the scoreboard here. We'll have that adjusted in a moment. I'm like, wait a minute, Otter's not playing jungle.
Yeah. Otter is not playing jungle. Is
At least I hope he
you are
is.
gonna get? Yeah, we gotta get everybody.
There we go.
Yeah, we'll be good here as we get everybody lined up and ready to go. And you mentioned Orianna into Corki can be one of those matchups that Corki can look to abuse if the Orianna doesn't navigate it properly, like you said, doesn't get that shield until generally level 3, as they do like to go QW. Has the Comet available though, so interestingly enough, is looking to kind of really bully Otter on this Corki. That ball range, I think, does really well, right? Orianna deceptively does well. So they're gonna look for invade onto
this
Ivern.
is so
Hey,
nice.
No!
Oh, Bio immediately flashes over the wall. Well timed by him, but a great late invade coming out from Team Will.
That's what you do. That's how you kind of mess with these Iverns, right? Because they don't do their traditional clear. They have to tick these camps in, and if you take their camps that they've ticked, you've essentially removed a whole part of their map, especially because they have to wait until the camp matures here as a gank
This
comes
is great
in.
too. Yeah, Will is here. Heal and cleanse burnt by Scary Jerry. Still has flash in the back pocket. Big triple knock up from Kim down to make sure his AD carry stays upright.
Yeah, but a lot of summoners used, like you mentioned, Dum use the heal on his side, but you look, cleanse down for Scary Jerry, heal down for Kim down, and Will doesn't really lose too much off of that. Is only going to pick up that one camp though, so
Quacker
Bio
and
will be able to get
calculus.
back.
Quacker's
Guys
just
are
got to land
fighting.
2 more auto attacks. Maybe one more after this. Leap strike auto got him, and
Wow.
calculus flashed too.
And we talked about Calculus having to dominate the laning phase as the Renekton. That's quite the opposite of dominate, actually.
Yeah, he's been brought to heal.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Calculus there. Gives up the solo kill to Quacker on that Jackson. A couple more of those, and Quacker could run away with this game, especially when you have an Ivern in your back pocket. Luckily for Ivern, even if you do invade him, he's a very low economy champion as Otter.
Yeah, Otter was very close to death there, believe it or not. As I'm kind of surprised Samikin didn't just try and flash on him and kill him. But
Yeah, I
we'll
mean,
hold that for another day. I know, you know, maybe it's a little overzealous there, but going back to the calculus play, really sad to see that because calculus has had such a good combine so far. And, you know, he's going up against Quacker, who's one of the best top laners in this combine. Quacker, as we all know, has spent his last 2 competitive years in the NACL and adjacent tournaments like that. So this is, you know, a big prove-it match for calculus. And I was hoping to see him run away with the game on his Renekton.
yeah, like you mentioned, Calculus kind of hit the scene, or at least gained popularity during his run in the Tier 3 tournaments, right? The OQs, right? He played for Western, and I was like, okay,
good
that's
season
the
there, too.
Calculus I know. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's the Calculus I know. Like, that's what he's up to. That's his limit. And then he kind of surpassed that and kind of changed the narrative on him as a player when he competed in these recent OQs, and has really kind of hit the ground running, I would say. But like you said, has to go up against Quacker, a guy that's been in Tier 2 for the past couple of years, has shown his worth, can show what he
Otter's
does.
in trouble.
Calculus.
Nice flash by Will to stick on top of the Corki, and he goes down.
Yeah, very, very well played from Will and Samikin there onto Otter. I like that play. Flash invested from Otter as well. He also doesn't have the TP. He traded super aggressively early on, got himself super low so he could TP back, come back with refillable, plus I believe a tier. Very well punished from Will and Samikin there. Samikin right now on this Orianna, like we mentioned, dominating some of these laning phases. Orianna has very traditionally been picked into Tristana, into some of these AD heavy mid laners, or AD ranged mid laners, because of the way the ball functions and how it extends her range, right? Range of attack, her range of damage here. And you can see Samikin using that to its utmost efficiency, getting Otter in kill range, forcing him down really, really low, and then getting the gank from Will, kind of putting the exclamation point on that period, on that sentence.
Yeah, I think because a lot of Corki's power, like when he was strong in mid lane prior this year, a lot of his strength was in his all-in. And since that's been taken away a little bit, I think it makes this Orianna matchup at least a little bit harder, because Orianna really struggles into champions that all in really, really well. You know, that's why Tristana for the longest time was a great pick into Orianna and Corki. But now it's a little bit harder. The good news is Bio has shown up, but a fight on two fronts here as Kimdown hits a double knockup. And not going to do a whole lot. It's really tough for Ezreal to fight through minions.
Yeah, very tough, especially into Ashe Braum as well. Even if you can kind of, you know, finagle your Q through the minions, Braum has a shield up, Braum can tank everything that's needed. Yeah, this Ezreal lane is kind of rough, but Kimdown has been hitting some nice double knockups. Heal was invested by Dum Dum.
Yeah, we'll admit was a little surprised by that, but now, hey, listen, you got it for a reason. May as well burn it as Scary Jerry is getting lower and lower. The tags are coming down, but now Levitate getting hit for a lot. Scary Jerry has had a really good laning phases.
Yeah, 100%. And I have been thoroughly impressed by Scary Jerry here.
Kimdown's in trouble.
Especially on... Uh-oh, Kimdown?
They're going to turn on to Levitate and the flash forward. Meanwhile, up on the top side, a fight over Grubs. Shockwave down, but Samikin has to get out. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Scary Jerry cannot get the job done. It's 2 kills going over to Dum Dum. Flashback to the top side. Dr. Calculus looking to close out onto Otter. Otter has nothing. No mana, no summoners, and no... Calculus? Surely Calculus didn't blow. Okay, he'll get the speed up from Orianna. It should be enough for him to slice.
Slice?
No? Oh no! Oh wait, the slice! The dice isn't enough! Otter's still alive somehow! Dr. Calculus has been put on Skate Shimmy! And he's gonna go down! No! 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 Oh! Oh, man.
Through his jungle right now.
Now listen, Otter put the moves on him. I still can't believe that. We're fighting over Grubs, and I'm still mourning the loss of Dr. Calculus. 1 Grub apiece for each of these squads. It's the last Grub getting fought over a little bit. Will pushing forward. Stuns going down onto Bio. Bio will fall. Scary Jerry is slowed. Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands flush, and Scary Jerry will fall. It's a double kill, and now Otter going to be the next target. He's stunned up as well. As Levitate continues pushing forward, but is now forced away by Quacker. Flash from Levitate. Samikin here as they're still trying to turn this fight. Another kill for Levitate. He's got 3 of them in this fight. Quack with the engaged shockwave onto Otter. He falls. Now Quacker in the 2v1. Oh, Ezreal ult splits the gap. Quacker with the counter strike lands shut down for Quacker.
I think I'm back. I think I'm back in action.
Back.
Hello?
Hello?
Might be.
Oh, it's sounding rough, Chibi.
Oh, it's sounding pretty rough right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're back. I think I'm back though. Yeah, I mean, just an insane fight. Bloodier game in the first 10 minutes than it has been in game 1 here. 8-6 right now. Both of these guys duking it back and forth here, but crucially Otter getting a couple kills here. 3, 2, and 2 on the Corki, but 2-0-2 on the Quacker. 2 guys that can definitely run away with the game.
Yeah, it's Samikin and Levitate really strong for the side of Team Will. On the other side, as you said, Quacker and Otter. I think for right now, this will favor Team Will. Just depends on how they make it happen in the team fights. They secured 2 Grubs. They're pinging down onto the Dragon to at least secure some vision, although Will isn't quite there yet. I don't know if they should be the ones to give this one up, Shibby.
Yeah,
I think Shibby might
Dragon,
be toast. Okay, Shibby's not toast.
I'm not toast. I'm perfectly untoasted bread right now.
Are you disguised as toast?
I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not disguised as toast here. As, like you said, giving that dragon over could be detrimental. Chemtech Dragon on the menu. Both of these teams kind of not really willing to commit too much to it, though, right? I've noticed, I'll say this, I've noticed when I see Cloud Drake and Chemtech as the first dragons available, the teams won't commit too much, right? They won't like overcommit to take it. They won't move vision. They won't really care. They don't really care about it. It's not that important of a first dragon. Dr. He's gonna put the ultimate.
Yep, that Dominus going down, forcing the ultimate out of Quacker as well, and he'll have to leap strike away. Quacker still flashless, but I agree with you. It seems like they really deprioritize those dragons I will say I think Team Will should be prioritizing them strictly because they have a better team fight early in this game. They should really take this objective for free while it's up. Maybe try to force Team Bio to walk up to them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. As Dum and Levitate are just kind of putting the screws to Scary Jerry and Kim down. Scary Jerry last game had the Ashe and was absolutely terrorizing that bot lane. Levitate's like, well, how do you like it now? How do you feel laning into the Ashe?
Yeah, especially with how strong he is after a fantastic fight on the top side jungle where he was just absolutely relentless. Bio and Kim down trying to move in. They will at least get a chance to clear out the vision, but Will comes away with the dragon as the grand prize 11 minutes in.
Finally, Dragon, like you said, being taken. Team Will picks it up, and now we see an Infernal Dragon for that second one. So now we have a chance of either an Ocean Soul, Mountain Soul, Hextech Soul, or obviously the Cloud Soul, potentially. Arguably one of the worst ones, in my opinion. But we talked about Dr. Calculus and their team kind of having to push the envelope a little bit early, stack those dragons. 9-minute dragon, not the worst, right? You know, it's not horrible, or right, 11-minute-ish, like 11 to 10-minute dragon-ish, not the worst here. You can still stack that early. But I said, if this gets past like the 27, 28-minute mark, that's where Team Bio can really start to flourish, right? 2-3 item Corki, 2-3 item Ezreal, 2-3 item Quacker, right? As Quacker's already on his legendary item, the Triforce. That's where it becomes rough, because Bio is just going to keep shielding. He's going to have Redemption. He's going to have potentially Mikhail's for one of his carries. He's going to have Moonstone. It's going to be tough to kind of work through these shields unless you have to build something like a Serpent's Fang, which is not ideal for really anybody, even Dr. Calculus.
Yeah, I just don't see any Serpent's Fangs happening. It just means that Dr. Calculus is going to have to be very judicious about his empowered W use in order to pop a shield. Samikin in trouble, forced to flash. Shockwave goes down on the Kim down. So Samikin missing some key cooldowns. His double teleports are here. Calculus going to slice, ready to dice his way back out or in if needed.
Yeah, double TP did get channeled there. No ultimate usage from Dr. Calculus, holding on to his ulti right now.
Knockups coming through. Ultimate from Will, not quite landing. Calculus trying to get on the back line, but he's drawn the ire of the rest of the team. Quacker on the side, forcing away Team Will. Their health bars are a little low. Samikin does not have a shockwave. It does not look like they're going to be able to claim these grubs.
Does not look like they're going to be able to take any of these grubs. We didn't even see any like kind of swapping action going on either, so it will be rough. 4-2 split for Team Bio here, and that's pretty much all you need to get the little Void Mites. As Quacker potentially will pick this up as well, and that grub split, very, very good for Team Bio, right? Jackson a side lane, if left unchecked, like you mentioned, Corki as well, with this double AD carry composition, could actually just run these turrets down completely.
Yeah, he's going to get a plate out of that as well. He just hit it twice, right? It's not a whole lot. Didn't even get his Demolish proc off. So that's the world that you're going to need to be worrying about when you stare down 4 grubs on the side of Team Bio. The gold lead is dead even right now, 14 minutes into the game, as the turret plates are going to fall off, but I'm sure Jax will still be able to get good value out of these grubs. Dragon up in about 2 minutes, and with Samikin's flash down, it means that you're not able to make as many plays with the shockwave, although most of the time people aren't, flashing around for it. Rift Herald started up by Team Will, so they have the inside track. Otter coming down from the top side. It's a bit of a weak pincer.
Daisy.
6 Man of the Year award going over to Daisy, as Daisy is just going to get blown up and go down. Oh, Rift Herald down to about 2,000, 1,000, and will go the way of Team Will.
And Team Bio just, unfortunately, didn't really have a good track there. Quacker not willing to invest that TP for them to secure that Herald. Instead, wants alone time with that turret, understanding that he has a TP advantage against Samikin, against Dr. Calculus. And look at him, just alone in a side lane. That turret absolutely turned into mincemeat.
Jax is smiling ear to ear right now. I'm sure Quacker is like, what are these guys doing? Goodbye, world. Thanks for the fish. Give me the gold. Give me the loot. As things are looking up for him. Samikin up on the top side. Will lying in wait. Maybe they want to make a play on Otter or this turret. And for having Merc Treads, Otter still takes a lot of damage.
Oh, yeah. 100% here, and it's because of the build that Samykin is going. He might be opting in
I love it.
for that like one-shot build,
Yeah.
2 damage, right? I believe
It's really good.
Ludin, Storm Surge, and then like Void Staff or Shadow Flame, I think, as they go for that magic penetration.
It's really good here
really
because
good.
there's not
Yeah,
many
yeah.
tanky members on Team Bio. It's the shields that are
No.
going to do it.
Yeah, shields that provides a lot of that pseudo technique. Keep it down by
Otter,
Quacker.
Otter, that was a little mistimed there as Quacker TP'd in and Kim down. He's going to land the charm onto Samykin. Samykin can't get away. It's a shutdown, and now Will has to deal with this very large Jax. We'll be able to stun him to get away. So it does end up being a 1-for-1, but it's lucky his team was there to back him up.
DP did get invested from Quacker there, so overall, I would say at least a net benefit on the Summoner spell trade. But
It'll be
look at
worth
Quacker.
because Quacker's
He's
going to
a
get the
killer.
turret.
Yeah, Quacker's gonna get the turret here, which is gonna give all that gold back over into the favor of Team Bio here. Dr. Cataclysm is gonna pick that tier 1 up in the bottom side. Overall, even trade. I'll argue, quote unquote, even trade of turrets, even trade of kills. But I like the look from both Will and Samykin to get that dive onto Otter to try to keep him down, right? Prevent him from that Mana Moon or Muramana power spike that both Scary Jerry and Otter are looking for. Once those two champions hit that power spike, it's a very different game for Team Will and the rest of his gang here, because now you have to contend with all this poke, all this extra upfront burst damage, and you don't got a lot of sustain, you don't got a lot of healing. It's kind of just dum-dum, you know, with the lock, with his shield, preventing a lot of that. You kind of have to eat these skill shots with your face.
Team Will grouping up near the mid lane as Calculus is on his way. Samykin Shockwave is available as Team Bio, the inside track toward the Dragon. Just looking to get these waves shoved in. Daisy showing up to the party as the Dragon will be started up. No, I see pings going on it. Calculus looks like, Quacker looks like he wants to start it. Calculus is heading down there for position to flank as the arrow lands onto Bio. Big shockwave onto multiple members. Scary Jerry's got to run for the hills as Otter's going to be the target, but bearing down on him is Will. They're going to peel back for Quacker. Otter is low. He's going to fall. Samykin gets it, and he's got 2. Quacker is running rough shot on the back line as Bio and Kim Down are between Samykin, but Samykin's got his triple kill. And now Bio going to be the target, the shields, the root as well. He said him and Calculus can't get more. Levitate was critically able to escape the wrath of Quacker.
Beautiful, beautiful shockwave from Samykin there. Lands onto Bio, KD, and I believe it was Scary Jerry at the end there. Tons of damage coming out. That's going to seal the fight. And we talked about how easy it is to land that shockwave once the Glacial Prison hits, once the Ash Ultimate hits. Those two absolutely set up Samykin for a beautiful 3-man shockwave there. That's going to secure them the team fight, but it's not going to secure them the Dragon here, surprisingly, as the gold barely 400 gold separates these guys.
It is so close to Shibby, but they're going to have to try again. Interestingly enough, Bio did not back, so he is still half HP right now for a potential ensuing dragon fight as everybody else has returned. Samykin's ult's going to be up very soon. Double knock-up landing, Samykin and Calculus, the targets, and they just melt under the pressure as Levitate was not around. Now Dum Dum and Will have to run to the safety of their turret.
Beautiful team fight coming out from Team Bio there. They absolutely fry Samykin and Dr. Calculus, and that's going to inch Otter and Scary Jerry ever so close to that Muramana Moon, as both of their tiers are almost fully stacked right now, and that's going to give them Infernal Dragon as well. Delay whatever sort of dragon stacking that Team Will had in mind here, and the game is going to slow down quite a bit, at least in the terms of for Team Will here. They can't really accelerate. They can't really kind of push these early game leads that maybe some of their laners had, whether it was Samykin or Levitate. Now it's going to be rough because you've got to stack 3 Cloud Dragons now, and that's one of those dragons where teams won't commit a whole ton to, right? Whoever's first on there will just get it. As Levitate.
Okay, Levitate just testing the waters there and deciding that he's not going to go for that. But yeah, the Rift Herald had to be used just because it was timing out, right? So that's never a good sign when you pick up the Rift Herald and can't really do anything with it. And you mentioned, Shibby, this game does get a whole lot harder for Team Will, despite the fact that Samykin is strong, despite the fact that Levitate is strong. They're trying to make a big flank play here. Otter trying to get away. He's stunned. He's CC locked, but he's shielded up well. And Calculus is caught in between turrets and falls down as the rest of the team was super responsive to their mid laner.
Beautiful, beautiful get down, Mr. President play there from the rest of Team Bio there. You mentioned the shields, the heals, the CC lockup on top of that with both Ivern and Rakan. Unfortunately, that dive does cost Dr. Calculus his life, and they almost ended up getting the quickie there, but unfortunate for Dr. Calculus. And those are the kind of plays that they have to make, right? Like, there's no front-to-back team fighting for Team Will here because you're going against a double 80 carry composition and a Jax as well. On top of that, Rakan, Iron, guys that will make you pay if you walk too far forward. You've got to go for these unfair fights. You've got to go for these dives, these mismatches, and hope that you just have the damage or that you're quick enough to burst that person out before the shields come in, before the heals. This time in the mid lane was, unfortunately, Team Will got read like a book.
So tough for them to be able to break through. You mentioned not going to have the ability to really break these shields. There are no items coming that are going to be able to help them out with it. 21.5 minutes into the game, Shibby. And it appears Team Bio is firmly in the driver's seat. These tiers for Corki and Ezreal are fully stacked. It's just a matter of time before they complete their backs and get their items. Scary Jerry's got his. Otter will farm the bot wave and then get his.
He's like a wave probably away, a little bit more than that. He's just farming up. As like you said, 2 item power spikes have been hit. Triforce, Sundered Sky, as well as Quacker picking up the components for a Zanya. This guy is going to be very difficult to kill, right? Even if you do potentially land a Shockwave, or he sees that Shockwave coming, instant Zanyas. As he is on the flank, Quacker.
Big flank there, stun on to Levitate. He's using the arrow, point blank range, the teleport's there. Levitate just can't get away from anybody here. Quacker is godlike. The pings are down onto the Baron. Samikin's going to have to make a hero play with a Shockwave somehow.
Yeah, the woes of playing Ashe here. Unfortunately, you're not the most mobile of champions. Even with Braum set there to defend. That's going to give the go button for Team Bio to pick up this Baron. Although it looks like they might have something to say about it. Will they just flip it 50-50?
Will is not in the area.
He's here. He has Flash. He's got the Blast Cone.
He's trying to flank Samikin. Samikin dodges out on the knockup. Kim down going to be the target for right now. Baron down to 3,500 HP. A Scary Jerry has to flash away from Will. Very suspect. Shockwave lands on the 2. Kim down in Quacker. Quacker half HP. In the pit is Dum Dum and Will. The Baron's getting lower. Who's gonna get it? It's taken away by Will. Samikin looking to do more as Quacker gets a big stun. And Scary Jerry with the honor. They drive the knife in the hearts of Team Will.
Baron was secured by Team Will, though Samikin is still draped in purple. I believe Levitate as well does have that Baron buff on him, so overall not a bad play from Team Will, especially when your 80 carry goes down. Being able to turn that 4v5, that's going to net them a tier 1 mid lane turret as well with those Baron empowered minions. You know what? Not so bad. Gold, pretty solid, pretty close. Oh, TP does come in, Levitate.
Yeah, he's getting chased away. He's not going to be able to back and go buy an item here. Or maybe they'll just decide to give up the dragon. I mean, you talked about it. They're in a scenario where they absolutely can, especially with Baron buff on the side of Team Will. Not something I'd worry about too much. Quacker is still getting stronger and stronger. Still hasn't gone down. Has a full bounty on him. He's got 3 items, as you said. Otter going over the wall into the fog of war. The shields are there. Samikin Shockwave lands and Otter will fall. But now Quacker's starting to get into the fight. Dum Dum is low. Levitate off to the side, but a great arrow. Quacker gonna get stunned. He's stunned again, and now he's gone golden. Will is so low, but he's still alive as Quacker is able to hop away.
And
Scary
Otter
Jerry!
just...
What a snipe from Scary Jerry on the Q! And he's gonna get away with it too, Shibby.
Yeah, he's gonna be able to get out A-OK right now. Slippery Ezreal from Scary Jerry. He's gonna keep poking and prodding, forcing Team Will back here. Gets the kill onto the jungler. That's gonna give them the go button. But Levitate, you're greeting for a wave, buddy. You've got flash, but I don't think it's enough.
He's gonna burn the flash, but I think he's gonna go down here. Dodges out another Mystic shot. Samikin giving him the shield. Daisy here to just delay Team 2 a little bit longer. Will up at about 10 seconds. A lot of low health bars, but Samikin is completely out of mana. It looks like the dragon goes over to Team Bio.
Bio will pick up this Cloud Drake off of a fantastic snipe from Scary Jerry on the back end, like you mentioned. But Otter valking into Fog of War. I wouldn't recommend that. Right, you don't got package. You don't go that far anymore. Definitely want to play a clean front to back. You don't want to be in the front. You want to be in the backside of team composition. Otter, along with the Ezreal, as your front line of Bio, Kim Down, and Quacker do allow you to kind of play these fights really, really sneakily, right? You can get a lot of poke in, rockets, mystic shots, and then even if Dum Dum does eat the Ezreal ultimate with his shield, you've just got so much more upfront damage coming in here. I like how Quacker's been playing these fights, though. A 7-0-7 Jax has been beautifully zoning a lot of Team Will away. Zanya timings, jump timings. I like how Quacker's been using this lead that he's been gifted to its utmost efficiency.
Yeah, if the fights are starting poorly for Team Bio, Quacker is there to get a kill, waste a lot of their time with the Counter-Strike, with his Zonias, and be able to turn it around. His Zonias is now back up, so again, you're going to have to invest a lot of your Team Will to try and take him down. So fight over the blue buff has started, but the blue buff of Will's side of the jungle is taken by him. So the pressure is on here. You can tell Team Bio really playing with an extra note of aggressiveness.
Yeah, they definitely have their foot on the gas right now, as Kim Down has been taking some beautiful Rakan knockups and ultimates as well. Double knockups into like 3-4-man charms has been really disrupting and really been able to catch out a lot of Team Will's champions. Here is Otter and the rest of the gang are just going to siege mid lane. They've got bushes to work with if I wants to drop them down, but instead they're going to work their way through the bottom lane or to this bottom side of the jungle into this bot lane here for that tier 2. It's already half health. Let's see how much poke and siege they can lay down here.
I love that Otter Valkyrie into the Krugs. He's nearly the same spot as he gets hit by an arrow, and he's going to be the one targeted out here. Still shielded, still healing. Quacker also unable to just go down. This Team Will is not able to close out on any of these kills.
And look how annoying it is to chase this composition, right? Mystic shot here, Corky rocket there, another mystic shot. Oh, Ivan's gonna throw down his root. Oh, another mystic shot. And it's so annoying because you'll slowly but surely, as you're chasing, your health bar is just getting whittled down lower and lower. So if you don't get that clean engage off the first time, if you don't get that kill off of that first big CC, Team Bio can just make you punish.
Big double knock up there as Kim Down's on the back line, and here comes Quacker! Big flash onto the priority targets as Samikin's got a flash away, but he's just gonna end up like Levitate anyway. It was a great shockwave, but it didn't do a damn thing.
Baron up in 55 seconds. That's not going to give them the window to start this, but it's definitely going to give them the window to start sieging down into this tier 2. They might crack this base open, might crack the inhibitor, and start getting supers funneling into Team Will's base. I don't think there's an end angle here.
Maybe. I mean, there is a world where there is an end angle. Question is, are they going to go for it? They will make this wise and safe move to back it up. Will is going to be spotted out on the side here. Dum Dum trying to link up with him. And now Dum Dum is forced away. He's going to get rooted and completely engaged on by everybody. It is a worthy sacrifice as long as Will doesn't go down. It is worth it to still have the smite on your team, as Will is trying to get away as best he can. Ezreal coming through, and it spots Will.
Will might go down here eventually, surely, as Dum Dum is dead right now, and Will is going to have to pay the ultimate price, even if he executes.
Well, alright, he's going to stun up Quacker here, but now Kim Down and Scary Jerry are here. He wasted so much time just for the Baron to respawn. Now the question is, who's going to take their backs? Otter could take a back here. He doesn't have blue buff. Quacker's going to take his back, but it looks like they're just going to rip on the Baron here, Shibby. Yeah,
they have the window of opportunity. Will is down, so Team Will is going to have to go look for that fight if they want to contest it, but instead, it just looks like they're going to try to scrap up as much gold as possible, get waves shoving in their favor so they can waste some time off this Baron. Smart play. You can still get that dream team fight scenario, those big Orianna shockwaves like you mentioned. Samikin can land one of those. Counts and Levitate can get the damage out as long as they're allowed to fight here, but it's looking rough. 5,000 gold lead for Team Bio here, and like I said, if it gets past 25, 26, 27 minutes, it's going to be really tough for Team Will to punch through this composition. You can see, no matter how much CC they get down, no matter who they catch out, Ivern healing and shielding is just too strong, man.
Yeah, it's just too much for Team Will to handle. They don't have the champions that can take advantage of the tools available in League of Legends to really pop a shield. I mean, you've seen Calculus has done his best with using his Empowered W, but even then, we've seen time and time again, Otter just survives through it anyway. The siege is on, Daisy is here. Quacker is leading a wave in with that inhibitor down as the turret gets lower and lower. Arrow lands on the Bio, but they fall back to protect their teammate. Dum walks in, big knock up onto Bio, but they just don't have the damage Shibby. They just don't have a way to get close. Quacker is just eating these Nexus turrets alive. They're falling back. Samikin, an opportunity for a shockwave there. They didn't take it. He's going to need a bigger one in order to get his team into this game, give them a chance.
Quacker ended up getting that first Nexus turret. He also got the other one very, very low. This Baron push, very good from Bio right now, or Team Bio, as we say, as the siege continues. But they're going to back off, cash in a lot of gold they got from that top lane, from that Nexus turret, and they're going to work their way down to that bottom. And they're going to probably pick up the Dragon as a consolation prize. But Team Will backed further and further into a corner, nearly up to their Nexus walls here. Tough game for them. They had to execute early. They had to get to leads very early on. They had to force skirmishes when they were strong. They just could not do it consistently here. And that was off of really good playmaking from Kim Down, from Bio. Really good flanks from Quacker specifically, right? This guy has yet to have a death this game. 909 on this Jax. Sterax built as well. He's pretty much unkillable now.
By the time Team Will was able to pull the trigger on some engages, the damage just wasn't there at that point in the game. Simic and the Lone Ranger to try to deal with this siege onto the last inhibitor turret. The rest of his team looking to link up with him. Like I said, he's got to land a big shockwave in order to give his team a chance to win. Waiting for Levitate to back, he is now here. Let's see what the move is as the final Nexus turret is under siege with plenty of minions in the area. It's just getting lower and lower, Shibby. Finally, Quacker will finish it off. Arrow onto Ezreal. Many ultimates going down. Knockup is there. It's a 1-for-1 for right now, but Quacker is on the key members, and he's not taking a whole lot of damage right now. Counter-strike is there. Down goes Levitate. Down goes Calculus. Down goes Team Will as Honor and Quacker are the last ones standing. And down goes the Nexus. Here in Game 2, Team Bio shows their resilience.
Very well played from Team Bio, understanding their win conditions, understanding that they just need to hold out, not bleed too much early here. This Ivern Jax double 80 carry composition gets it done, and I think I'm a slideshow. I'm actually a slideshow.
You are actually a slideshow right now. Take a look at the post-game breakdown here. Big gold lead early. Not big, I should say, but there was an early gold lead starting at around the 6-minute mark till about the 12-minute mark for the losing squad. They just weren't able to close it out. Look at the damage numbers. I mean, I have to say, it's really disappointed in the Ashe damage coming out here. It just was not good enough for Levitate. With that early lead, he did 17.4k. And on the other side, he just over 30k on 3 of their carries. This is exactly what you want this graph to look like when you play a composition like Team Bio did.
Yeah, very, very well played here. And it will be interesting to see how these teams approach Game 3 here. If maybe Team Will wants to take on that late game composition, right? As we are tied 1-1 apiece. If you want to look at it as like a best of 3, it is just a block of 3. Or if Team Bio is going to opt in for some of these more like front-to-back late-game skirmish compositions. We are, like we said, limited with the champions that these guys can pick. It is a set number of champions, ones that are pretty much reliably in the meta or almost always in the meta at any point in the year. And they get one exception of a champion. They get to pick one champion that is not within that approved list for their team here. In this case, I believe it was the Corki for Team Bio. While on the side of Team Will, they actually picked champions all within the approved list.
Yeah, I really like that sort of thing. And I really like the constraints that they have, and especially the champion availability. I just think they're all really great champions to be able to put together. And it's nice seeing these compositions that you see in high-level play in Tier 1 be played at a combine like this. And I really hope that a lot of these players excel. And I'm really pulling for, obviously, I'm pulling for everybody to do well, but I want to see guys like Dr. Calculus really show up in this third game. I want to see Levitate. I want to see Samikin really insert themselves and be assertive going into this last game. The teams are splitting apart. It is time for their review, which means it is time for another break. When we return, we'll be delivering not the final game of the night, as I believe we have. Is it the final game of the night? I actually don't know. Give me a second. It is the final game of the night. We'll be delivering the final game of the night between these two teams when we return. We'll see you soon.
on. Keep moving on. And they say I have a grim sense of humor.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Sido GG Path2Pro 2024 Combine. I've got a new friend. Ice Fireeyed is stepping in for Shibby for this last game. I want to thank you for coming on. So I presume that you have been watching. Have you watched the prior games, the last two games that we had?
So I caught the second game. I caught the start of the first game, didn't quite catch the middle of the first game as I had to take a little stroll on home to then be able to do this now, just in case. But no, it was a really good second match, and there was a lot that I could see that these players get to build on coming into this third match, especially with the reduced champion pool that they have.
And we're already seeing more priority bans. Corki once again getting taken off the table. And Skarner hasn't been seen for all three games. It's not a champion that was on that approved list, and I think it's mostly because he expected to be banned pretty much every game.
Yeah, I mean, Skarner is one of these champions. Similar to Zac, if you get these unconventional gank paths with it, because Skarner can go through those walls, and it makes it that much harder to defend against the ganks when you don't always know where it's coming from. And for that unpredictability and just how tanky, and it kind of brings everything to the table. You get a little bit of damage, a little bit of tank, and just the unconventionality of the new Skarner after the rework. These players, I am not surprised to see it on the ban table consistently in this Combine.
I like the aggressive 80 carry pick we're going to see here. We're going to see a Kai'Sa come through. We did see a Kalista earlier on in the set that was rebuffed pretty hard by an Ashe and a Seraphine. Interested to see if Team 1 will go back to the well on that one, but this time they will take the Renata to pair up with the Ashe.
I like the Renata pick here. I think Ashe Renata is a really strong lane for it being a double squishy lane in a sense. So it's going to be up to this Kai'Sa to have really good positioning along with whichever support that they decide to go with. There's still the likes of the Braum, of the Leona, Rakan, and Rel. I would not be amiss to see a Rakan here. I think that'd be a really good pick for team 2 here. And then along with the Vi, that point and click CC to shut down whatever carry pops up is so crucial with what's been drafted so far.
K'Sante going to be the final lock-in here for Team B. I am interested to see what the mid laner on Team 1 is going to be, because this is a very good Ahri angle. We really haven't seen Vi Ahri combined too much in this sort of Combine. If you want to go outside the box and pick a champion that is not on the approved list, you could go with Talia there as another good option, as the Blitzcrank will be locked in for Team 2. So that is their one pick to go outside the box.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent pick considering how, especially just in lane by itself in this kind of vacuum of the bot lane, you have two excellent targets that have zero mobility. You're gonna start looking to burn flashes early, and I'm expecting them to have some aggressive kind of early game invade of the jungle at level 1, considering it is a Blitzcrank. And just like you were predicting, that Ahri comes through to go with the Vi, an excellent duo coming out of the mid jungle that offers a lot of mobility, a lot of lockdown CC that will decimate an unsuspecting mid laner if they're not prepped with their wards accordingly.
I was expecting maybe a Gnar to come through here, but it does look like the outside the box pick for Team 1 will be locked in. That is an Udyr on the top side. Udyr, a champion that really solo wins lane, but a lot of people forget that does require resources in the sense that your team needs to have pressure on other sides of the map. We'll see if the other 4 champions can exude that pressure, as Smolder, the final lock-in, will be headed toward the mid lane, piloted by Samikin.
I like the Smolder pick. You have the flap to get away from the Ahri charms, from the Vi engages. So it does offer you a little bit of safety that some of the more traditional control mages may not have. Along with that, the Sylas doesn't have that same kind of escape range. And again, with the Orianna, very immobile. So the Smolder gives that mobility that's required for this lane to stay alive. And it's a good pickup for them there. And then the K'Sante in the top lane, we haven't really touched on. Going into that Udyr, It's going to be one where Udyr should have majority control of the lane with their wind being able to take a lot of that wave control away from Cassante. So it's really going to be this mid to late game Cassante and seeing what they can do in team fights that's really going to be the difference maker in that top side of the map, especially around grubs is where I'm really looking to see this Cassante come into their own and shine.
Couldn't agree more, Ice. And I love that you mentioned Silas in the mid lane a little bit, because I'm actually surprised it wasn't picked up by Team 2 here, especially because you've got Vi, you've got Renata ultimate to steal, Ashe ult's a good one to steal. It's not a champion that we've really seen Samikin play, so perhaps it's just not in the wheelhouse, but I'm going to be completely honest and completely blunt. If it's not, it really should be. It's something that should invest the time to learn and be super comfortable with. There's not a lot of pressure to put on this Smolder in the early game, though, which I like out of Team 2. Like, pre-6, he's really not going to find himself in much trouble. Vi has just a much harder time trying to get ganks off. Does have the setup with the Ahri charm if there is a misposition by Samikin. But outside of that, it's going to be really hard to actually ruin lane for this guy unless he does it himself.
Yeah, and it's really going to be up to Samikin to set the lane off where it needs to be, because Ahri, no matter what, is going to scale well against something like the Smolder. Both of them have immense amount of damage when you get to that late game. The Ahri charm is one of these abilities that you do have to be careful, because if you do accidentally stray out of positioning and get caught by a charm, it can absolutely wreck your laning phase if you have to be shoved down and having to burn TP early, or have to be in a position where you don't have the health or mana to trade effectively when you're in the middle of the laning phase, let's say. So it's going to be crucial for Samikin to really have the wherewithal in the lane to be playing within the minions and not get caught out when they step up to trade.
So, Ice, you saw the team comps, you see them slowly get locked in as we're now in the real draft. Who do you think has the edge and why?
It's going to be really close. All these, a lot of times you can kind of see a player diff come out, but really is no true player diff amongst these players. It's really going to come down to the execution. And I like to go with ease of execution a little bit more. And so I'm going to have to lean that a little bit towards Team 2 here. The Ashe Renata with the Ahri, it has some decent damage opportunities, but Ashe's damage doesn't really come online till later. It's really death by toothpicks to start out, as the Ahri damage does really ramp up the later it gets. But once you get to that stage, you're then going to have to deal with a Cassante. You're going to have to deal with a Sejuani, a very, very tanky front line that Ahri isn't going to be able to get through very easily either. And for Samikin and their ADC and their team overall, it's just going to be easier for them to get the damage that they need to. Even though they are slightly shorter range, I think they just have a higher damage potential and an easier to execute team composition. Now, that's not to say, I will put the caveat, if the Renata ult does come through and it hits several members, that can throw everything and really explode the waters, and everything's up in the air at that point.
Yeah, there's a lot of key members to watch out for, in this early game. I think we're going to be looking to see what Dum Dum does on this Blitzcrank. And then, of course, Samikin is going to have to be the one to bring the team home, survive in the early game, play mistake-free League of Legends, and hard carry the game from there. And Bio is going to have his work cut out for him this game. I think he's got to be pretty much everywhere and do everything he can to get his laners early leads, and if not, really take control of any early fights and make these picks work. We're going to go and take a short break as players have finished selecting their champions. We're going to head to the spectator delay soon, which means we'll be a little bit of wait before we're on the rift for the final game of the Saito GG Combine for tonight. We will see you very soon. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our last match of the evening, the Sido GG Combine between these two teams known as Team Bio and Team Will. Remember, 5 of these players, well, 5 players left in the Combine are still fighting for a spot to get out to LA. Only 9 of these players in this game are, as Will has, as we mentioned, already locked his spot up.
Yeah, and you can see that it's actually going to be... I'm fascinated by this because it's a counter invade, looking to play aggressive into the Blitzcrank composition. Usually you see a much more defensive outlook coming from the side without the Blitzcrank. So for them to be playing this hyper aggressive style, going in, getting vision, trying to figure out where this Blitzcrank is, they were looking for a fight and ready for it with all 5 members there. And it's good to see the aggressive look coming out from it, because typically when you see that defensive look, it doesn't always end well for the team without the Blitzcrank.
I love what's going on here. Kim down, Bio, Scary Jerry in position.
Oh,
right on top
perfect.
of Will here to chunk him out, force him back, at least make his start a lot slower.
It's going to be a lot slower and a lot more dangerous for him, because now at any moment this Vi, knowing that he was chunked to below half health, it's going to be a clear that's a lot less healthy. So you're going to be looking now for the Sejuani to vertical jungle. You know the Vi is in your blue side jungle now, you know that's gone, so it's really all about getting this red as fast as possible and getting to the opponent's blue buff as quickly as possible on that as well, after taking a little bit. But they've also initiated a lane swap on the side of Team Bio to try to, no, I'm sorry, on the side of Team Will to try and help that Sejuani now. With that, you can see Levitate and Dr. Calculus are in the top side versus Quacker, whereas the Dum Dum on Blitzcrank was in the mid lane to help out Samakin in the early stages. So that's very interesting to see these kind of weird lanes coming out, as not something you usually would see in a lane swap.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent shift, though, to put somebody with the Samakin. You don't really care about the levels so much as you care about making sure that he's safe in the early game, doesn't really have a problem, and have things start off really nicely. And you also get the added benefit of making sure that Quacker can't farm at all in this early game. So, yeah, if he has the experience, that's totally fine. Quacker may find himself in a bad way as there's a 4-man dive attempt. Dum Dum going to be the first one to tank it up. Poke doesn't quite land. He's going to take one last turret shot and walk away. Levitate will take 2 to the face, and it'll be a 1-for-1. Surprised he didn't flash.
Yeah, and I don't think they were expecting to die off of that second turret shot that they took, but because it went empowered after that, it was very, very aggressive, because it was Dum Dum that took 1, Will took 2, and then Levitate took 2. So you're looking at the 5th turret shot dishing out a lot of damage overall, and now, because they took so long with that dive,
Good
as
flash by Bio there to stop Will from going anywhere with his charge, and now Otter is on the way here too. That is just a perfect play.
yeah, and I think that was a little over-aggressive by Will to continue then to look in the jungle. They knew that Blitzcrank was there previously because of the Ash Hawk shot whenever Blitzcrank was placing that ward trying to get some vision in the jungle for that dive. Because the dive then took so long, you don't have Levitate, Dr. Calculus TP bot side. You don't have any support in the top side, and you know Vi knows that's where you're going to be. So at that point, once you get the kill, you have to dip, unfortunately. And yes, you're going to lose out a little bit, but at that point, you're just trying to salvage your jungle and not trying to look to get anything else out of it, because once Vi's there, you don't have any support on your top side, your Smolder's pushed in, you just have to dip so that you don't give over any extra gold to the opposing squad.
4 camp lead right now for Bio. He's level 4 to Will's level 3. And if he's the first one to hit level 6, this will be a bad news for Team Will. As we talked about, they just need to survive to allow Samakin to do his thing, hit his stack breakpoint, and they'll be good to go from there. But the problem is, right now, Team Bio looking very aggressive. Knockup is there on the Scary Jerry, who does get stunned up and is tagged with the passive of Kaisa, the shield, the barrier. Means that he'll be able to survive just barely.
The barrier plus the shielding from Renata coming in clutch to make sure that Scary Jerry could stay alive. And now with that potion ticking, gets them a little over 30% health. There's Will's gonna, well, Bio's gonna find Will, and that's gonna be the end of any potential dive for this bot lane. I like the aggressive looks coming out from Team Will, but Bio is doing everything they can to be all over the map exactly the way that they need to be.
Yeah, we talked about it in the draft. This is what he needed to do. He's doing it well. Like we mentioned, has that level up on top of it. So you can see Samikin having a good time against Otter, but now it's not looking so good as Samikin is forced to flash.
Is Samikin forced to flash away from the orb just to make sure that they don't get caught out on that second half, because that would have been the death of Samikin, who is now level 6, has the ability to call in Mom, and that should even out the mid lane a little bit. What I'm really looking for now is to see, is there going to be a contest around these grubs? Since Vi is already there, we can see the Kai'Sa and Blitzcrank have backed away. No TPs on the mid laner, so it's really going to be a fight over whatever's left with their health bars, but looks like, interestingly enough, Vi is taking one and backing away from it all.
Dum-Dum is the first support to get up here. Mom coming through, it slows up Otter. Otter's got a flash. Oh. He mind controlled Dum-Dum.
He did.
He mind controlled him. That was such a sick play from Otter. I'm so glad it worked out, because it looks really cool when it works and really bad when it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, that's the level of, I mean, that is just nerves of steel. To hold steady in that situation and say, no, I am going to stand my ground right there and not move, expecting Dum-Dum to go for the predicted move is just a really good mental play there by Ardor there. And while that was happening, they also got all 3 grubs, so that's also really good for them.
Scary Jerry has been all outed, and I think he may be going out here. Flash from Calculus. Calculus is gonna die for this, sadly, as he misplays it. Could have been clean. He does end up falling, but it does end up being a 1-for-1 and a lot denied from Scary Jerry.
Yeah, and you are denying a lot of CS from Scary Jerry, so it's not a terrible thing for K'Sante, as K'Sante gets the levels, will still be getting gold, and is still going to be a powerhouse with that all out, because really you're looking to kidnap somebody over a wall and just take them out of the fight, especially if you can get into the backline and kidnap the Ahri or kidnap the Ashe. That would be a huge difference maker for that fight. So I'm not too concerned about that play by Dr. Calculus to just try to deny gold, as the dragon was just stolen by Vi.
Yeah, and the cease and desist on top of it, Will realizes he is dead. As the hostile takeover comes out, they'll just beat the crap out of each other for a moment or two, but that's the level difference right there that we talked about. Bio's first play with his ultimate successful.
Yeah, not only getting the kill, but also being able to steal the dragon before the kill means that ocean dragon's going to help out. Yeah, it's just one ocean dragon, but still, that rejuvenation's going to be quite useful for this squad, who is slightly less tanky, especially in this early stages. Now we're going to get an opposing dive, the first dive coming out from Team Bio here.
Scary Jerry hooked in, but didn't take any turret shots, but is so low already. Can't quite bail him out there as he will fall. Otter is coming through. Samikin is on the backside of this play. Mom comes through, gets a slow, charm down onto Will. Will gets blown up. Otter uses another charge. He's got 1 remaining as he's fishing around here, waiting for his charm to come back up. Flash hook lands on to Kim down, and Levitate gets himself a kill.
2-for-1 overall in the really failed dive by Team Bio there. I liked the look from Team Bio to try to push their advantage that they found, considering they had just killed off Will, but Will respawned fast enough because we're less than 10 minutes into the game at this point. It means that they still have really short death timers, and Will was able to get there, and because of the back timings of Samikin, they were able to get there too and really turn that around really nicely. So good recovery there by Team Will to turn that dive around and bring themselves a little bit back in favor of themselves. They're still down in the gold lead, but they're not down in terms of their pressure on the map, and that's really what's important right now.
So much pressure being put down here by Team Bio as Bio is everywhere, has that Sundered Sky. Otter has that Malignant, so that Ahri ultimate cooldown, the Spirit Rush is going to be so low. The ability to just move around the map is going to be so much greater than Samikin's right now, even though he's got a small CS lead for himself. He's not doing so much on the items department as Bio has shown up, and he does a lot of damage to Will.
Yeah. Will actually having to use their ultimate there just to get away, and that just shows the amount of pressure that that Bio can put out right now. Is that's the second grub spawn coming through, and there's just nothing that Will and Dr. Calculus can do because Quacker has such control over that top wave. They get first roam, they get to help out in taking these grubs. There's not even gonna be a contest because of that, as Otter also has the first roam as well if they so choose to use it. So that's gonna be all 6 grubs going over to Team Bio, and with a team that is looking to get early leads and push them heavily, this is exactly what we want to see out of them.
Yeah, by the way, Udyr with 6 grubs is insane. You already saw what Scary Jerry and Kim Down have been doing with 3 grubs. Now they have 6. That turret has just 1 plate left, and Will has to be here to try and stop them because you know they're salivating at getting that last one. Will is showing on this wave. Hook goes down, doesn't land. Don't tell me they're going to get a kill in a 3v2 ice as Dum Dum is going to fall. That should never happen.
No, and Dum Dum was really caught out of position. I'm very confused by the positioning of Will and Dum Dum there, only because if you're looking to make that kind of play, you need Will off in the wings so you can kind of bait the step up from Scary Jerry and Kim Down. And since Will is just standing in the middle of the lane, you throw out a very obvious hook. As soon as that hook throws, Ash is going to throw out their arrow. The hostile takeover is going to come out from Renata. And with Dum Dum being at half health, there's really nothing that they can do. There's no turnaround potential from Levitate and Will in that scenario. So I'm just very confused by that whole play, as now they're really on the back foot against this more early game focused composition of Team Bio.
It is not looking so hot for Team Will right now. Levitate does have 2 kills. Does have the static shift, so the wave clear is at least there. You know, you've got 2 kills on Dr. Calculus. He's going to be really powerful. Not too much in the way of tanks on Team Bio, so if he finds himself in a 1v1 or is able to pull somebody away with the all-out, you know, you could see good results there, but right now the results are not what Team Will wants. Will going to start up on the Dragon. Levitate at half HP. Calculus is here to try and bail him out, but there's just not much that can be done. I mean, Quacker is solo pushing on the bottom side.
I'm actually interested a little bit by this play by Team Bio. Bio focusing the top side here instead of trying to continue the dragon stacking that they've started for themselves here, as Will's still working on that dragon. They're actually looking to execute a dive on this top side onto the 3 members of Team Will.
That's the problem. Knockup is there after the hook. Here comes the hostile takeover. It's only going to hit Calculus. Levitate will survive. Bio, can he get bailed out? Not quite. But they are going to be able to clean this one up as they got members advantage. Will in trouble as Quacker is looking to chase him down. Flash, take him out. Dum Dum gonna fall too. Scary Jerry rifling away at Samikin, and while Samikin does trade out, the last 2 standing are Kim Down and Scary Jerry, as it's time for the structures to fall. Top outer turret, mid outer turret, all gonna go down as a consequence of giving away 6 rows.
And the bot lane tier 2 has fallen before the kill onto Will from Quacker. So they're losing a lot of standing gold and they're not able to recover it. And at less than 15 minutes in the game, we're only 14 and a half minutes in, there's already objective bounties on the table for the side of Team Will, and that is not great for them, as this team also struggles with wave clear. So one of the things that I like to look at in compositions is not only the ease of execution, but if they get behind in this type of scenario, how can they actually turtle? What is their turtle ability in the game right now? And it's not looking great. If we can get a quick stack check on Samikin's Smolder to see what stacks they're at, that would be a huge help to see really what their abilities for wave clear are. Now they just
129.
barely hit that 125 mark, so they're actually behind in their stacking just a little bit as well. And that's really your main source of wave clear on the side of Team Will. Whereas the siege potential coming out from the side of Team Bio is much greater. So we're going to see a lot more structures fall, and it's going to be up to the side of Team Will to do everything they can to not let inhibitors fall. Because if inhibitors start falling, that's really where they're going to start to struggle the most.
Rift Herald dropped on the mid lane. Kim Down shows in between turrets. Will tries to scare him off as the top inner turret is also dropping like a rock. Calculus is CC'd for days. Berserk on Will and Dum Dum as Will had to step up. Samikin TP's in. Mom coming through to try to help the squad, but it's just not enough as they are on a relentless pursuit right now. Ice. Quacker leading the charge. Otter coming through, sliding in, dashing, weaving, and it is a clean, not a clean ace, but it is an ace for Team Bio.
And they're going to take this inhibitor turret. They should back away. Obviously, it's too early in the game to end with Will coming up with Dr. Calculus in 4 seconds. But getting this turret, cracking open the base on that top side before Baron even spawns, lends themselves to have this opportunity whenever they so wish with Quacker to just sit up there and continue to pressure this inhibitor. Now, I don't want to see the inhibitor taken just yet because all it does at this point would be feeding gold to the side of Team Will, and that's not what we want to see. We don't want to see this ping pong of waves that starts to happen when you get to the mid game, especially if they can't actually utilize the top inhibitor effectively. Now, with Dragon coming up in a minute and a half, it's going to be the Cloud Soul once again, unfortunately.
Teleport's coming through. Quacker is going to be able to claim a kill on the Dum Dum. Will flashes in, but Will doesn't have the teammates yet. Bio cuts off Calculus. Levitating Samikin just can't get close. All out onto Scary Jerry. The barrier is there. He will finally fall. No, he gets bailed out. He manages to survive, and Otter comes in on the backside, and Levitate can't handle him either. 4-0 in favor of Team Bio, and Ice, if they don't end the game here, it's essentially over.
Yeah, I mean, the game is essentially, there's just not enough gold. As it's a 10,000 gold lead right now at less than 18 minutes. We're 10 seconds away from the 18-minute mark, and it's already a 10,000 gold lead. They're going to back off here, but cracking that mid inhibitor, they're going to clear out this jungle, or they should at least, with 45 seconds left on the clock for the Dragon, so they can at least put down wards, maybe not take any of the camps, as they are going to at least get the Gromp, but with Dum Dum showing their face, this Dum Dum's just dead here.
Yep. I have nothing else to add. He's just dead. It's another kill going over to Team Bio. Absolutely running roughshod over this game. Absolute brutality. It's almost an 11k gold lead. Ice. It's rough. I don't know if there is a way for Team Will to come back.
And I don't like calling games early. I want to see games, be competitive all the way through to the end. But really, in this scenario, there really isn't a way unless they just have the ultimate way to turtle that I am not aware of yet. Because every fight that they've taken ever since the 10-minute mark has gone to the side of Team Bio, it's felt like. They've had some good looks, but they were able to repel that one dive where it really felt like they had an opportunity to live, as Quacker's just running down Samikin.
Samikin getting a little bit of mom healing. Dum Dum has done what he could to try to help out his mid laner, and is still doing everything he can to help out his mid laner. And Samikin lives on just a thread. Quacker now getting chased down. Hook in. Levitate will be able to claim this kill, but the rest of Team Bio is here all out, but Calculus goes down. Kim down here to stop the recalls, as Levitate is going to find out real quick that he is going to go down. He is the most wanted man on Summoner's Rift right now, and they always get their man as the charm goes down onto Dum Dum. Just a matter of time before he falls. It'll be a Foxfire to take him out.
And
big flash on
just
the
doesn't
Samikin
stop.
and the 2v1. Cease and desist. Samikin over the wall. Bio will int just a little bit there, but Scary Jerry should be able to clean up Samikin here. And now Will's going to be the next target. Will has realized there is nothing for him to do either.
Blue team double
as those two fall. Dr. Calculus, a new challenger, is approaching along with Levitate and Dum Dum. But the top inhibitor will go down.
And they're lucky that, you know, the players have respawned on Levitate and Dum Dum because it's barely at 20 minutes. Baron isn't even started yet, you know, just barely spawned. We have 2 inhibitors down. They have the ultimate pressure at this point in the game to take a T1 Baron. Like, there is no world where they really need to go to Dragon at this point. They can focus everything towards Baron, grab that Baron, send Quacker top side, Ari mid, the Scary Jerry, Bio, and Kim down bot side to just have every lane pushing in their favor and just slowly chokehold the game out.
Team Will going to need to use their will to try to win this game. Not sure if it's possible. As we mentioned earlier, it's tough. I mean, Samikin is averaging 10 CS a minute, is getting very close to the stack point. If he can get there and the game hasn't gotten any worse, maybe there's a chance, Ice, but this Baron
there's a will,
should put
there's a
this
way.
game on ice.
That's all. Where there's a will, there's a way. There has to be for this team, because otherwise there's not much that they can do. And they've done decently so far in the past few minutes to, yes, they've been losing fights, but they've been clearing out the mini waves enough where they can't have good looks at the Nexus turrets. And that's really important at this point, is just to deny looks at the Nexus turrets and deny as much damage as you can to them, as hard as that is, because with this Baron now dropping, we can see Ari's in the top lane. They've decided to opt for a 1-3-1 with Quacker in the bot side here, and they're just going to pressure every lane down and make sure that there's really no opportunities for Team Will to even get a look outside of the base. They're not even worried about Dragon being up, as it's now a 4-1 split, and with the siege potential that this comp has, there's not much that Team Will can do here except just back away and hope to fight under their Nexus turrets.
Well, the final inhibitor turret falls, as does the final inhibitors. Calculus is taking a whole lot of damage. They haven't dealt a whole lot back. Smolder Execute is finally online, Ice. I mean, I'm not sure if it's going to make a real big difference, but it is at least a lifeline for the side of Team Will. Maybe, just maybe, it's enough to bring them back into this game. Their inhibitors are going to respawn shortly just to get knocked down if somehow, some way the Nexus is still standing as the minions are pouring in. Super minion on the top side. Here comes the ultimate to send everybody berserk. Dr. Calculus will fall. Target is going to be Will, as Bio taking a lot of damage. He will get bailed out, but he does go down. It is a 2-for-2 right now, as they're all very low. Honor goes down. Scary Jerry with the barrier, he goes down. And Ice, they've managed to hold.
With only losing one Nexus turret, where there's a will, there's a way. Will with an insane clutch Sejuani ultimate, Glacial Prison there to lock down one of the key targets. I didn't even notice who it was because they were just blown up instantly. I think it was Otter there that just got deleted off the map at the beginning, and that meant that the fight went to the side of Team Will. Not without losses. It was not a clean fight, but they were able to save the game off of that, and now they get to push out of their base on the back. It's all on the back of Samikin at this point. If Samikin can come out and carry this game, it will be the carry of the century almost in this Combine. With how far down they are, to come back and win that fight, it's insane. And I want to see them now contest this Dragon. Like, you can't give over objectives for free at this point. You know that you can take a fight. You need to push these waves and start to look to contest some objectives. Even though you're down, you need to find fights in your favor and just do everything in your power to make sure that you can come out ahead, because you want to deny as much as you can over to Team Bio.
Team Will has a little bit longer,
there it is,
and they're going to be able to take out Otter. Everybody's gone berserk. It's a 5v4 favorable for Team Will, but their health bars are starting to look mighty low as Will has fallen. Down goes Samikin. Calculus on the backside, but he doesn't have enough to take out Scary Jerry. Levitate and Dum Dum, the last two standing. I think this could be it. Cease and desist down. Triple kill for Jerry, and that's all she wrote for this one, Ice.
It is, and it was a good start, you know, and Otter getting caught out once again by that Glacial Prison, and it was a good look by Dum Dum to pull in. It's just there was no flashes that they could really get out of that scenario where you had the hostile takeover, you had Quacker coming in from the other side, so they were really flanked and put into this box that they couldn't get out of. Unfortunately for the side of Team Will, even though they had a good start to that fight, it was just too little too late, and there was not enough gold in Samikin's pocket to really make the difference that they needed in order to put the game and the team on their back and carry them to victory.
Yeah, never really a doubt here for Team Bio, as it just wasn't enough. Samikin had that uninterrupted early game, but as we said, Bio needed to be everywhere, and he was absolutely everywhere. Got to give it up to him for playing a really pristine game, and overall being a large reason why his team was able to come away with the victory. Ice, as that will do it for us here this evening on the Blue Otter channel, covering the Cyto GG Combine. If you're interested in more League of Legends action, in about an hour or so, Blue Otter will be hosting their Masters League. I'll be there with Shibby. However, if you're really interested in the Cyto Combine, the action continues, and it continues all week long. Tomorrow night, 8 Eastern time, we will have more coverage, just another 3 block. It'll be Orbital and Alk Battery on the cast, and Ice, you'll be working prod for that one.
Yeah, I'll be behind the camera for that one. So this was my one chance to get in front of the camera, it feels like. But no, it's going to be another great lineup tomorrow night as well for the Cyto GG Combine here on the Blue Water channel.
That'll do it for us here this evening. So for myself, for Ice, who stepped in, for Shibby, who stepped in for the Bully, who stepped in for Alk Battery, and Caddy behind the glass, we want to thank you all so much for tuning into the Cyto GG Combine, and we hope to see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern for some more Cyto GG Combine action.
Yeah!